Hello everyone, this is Carly at Crafting with Class, and today I'm excited to share with you a birthday card that has two interactive features. So this is a card that I'm going to be sharing with you today, and when the little tiger slides on over and bumps into the unicorn, it shakes. So here are the supplies that I'm going to use for today's card. Starting off with the Peekaboo Fair stamp set from Avery, Elle, and I'm going to be using the bumper car, the little unicorn, and some of the sentiments from this set. Next, I'm going to be using the Portrait Pals from Hello Bluebird, and these are the same types of stamps as Avery Elle's with the little critters and their little paws, and I'm using a little tiger for that. And then a really high five from Fawn, and I'm going to use a sentiment, a few of them from this set. I'm also going to be using the banner die or the party banner die from MFT, as well as this die. And if anybody knows what this is called, please leave it in the comment section because I don't have it labeled and I couldn't find it anywhere. So sorry. I'm also going to be using the longest die from the slide on over dies from Fawn, as well as 3 of the party balloons from this Fawn die set. I'm also going to use the big balloon stencil from My Favorite Things for the inside of the card. I will also be using this metallic watercolor set from Yasutomo, and it's very inexpensive and you can find it at Michael's. It's about $3. I'm also going to be using this old Bo Bunny blast off paper collection and a rainbow collection of stickles, as well as 3 distress oxide pads in the colors of mustard seed, faded jeans, and candied apple. Alright, so let's get moving on this interactive card. I started off by stamping all of the images onto 110-pound cardstock with Gina K amalgam ink. I needed to stamp another little bumper car and flag, so I did that as well. Now for the coloring, I already started on it, and so I'm finishing this up by coloring the blue one for you. I'm using the 3 colors that are on the screen. The caps are on the screen, so I use B28 and B26 and B24. And if you've not seen me color before, I color from darkest to light because that is how I learned when I was taking Copic coloring classes from Suzanne Dean a long time ago. So I'm going to have one bumper car to be red and silver, and then this blue one I want to have as blue and gold. So I will take the YR24 marker for the gold part and then add the metallic paints to that to make it to look a little more metallic-y. I'm going to put the caps back on, and here is the YR24, I believe, marker for the gold section. And I got a little bit into the glass there, so I'm pushing it out with my Copic blender, the 0 marker. I'm using the T markers, so T8, T6, and the 100 to color in the black part of the bumper. And I got some out of the bumper line, so I'm pushing the color back with the color Splendor as well. So now I remembered that I had forgotten about the little banner or the little flag, so I'm going ahead and coloring that in. Now I'm taking the metallic watercolors and I am coloring in the part that I want to look metallic on the bumper car. So I'm using the silver on the red one, and I'm also going to use the gold onto the blue one, and I'm also adding the little tops of the little flags with the coordinating color of their bumper cars. And even though you can't tell there, when you hold it up against the light, there's a definite metallic sheen to it. Really easy and very inexpensive way to do it. So I have the coordinating dies ready to cut, and here they are ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and adhere the little tiger to the blue one by adding some Nuvo adhesive as well as a little flag to the back of his car. Now for the paws, I wanted to add a little bit more dimension, so I added itty bitty tiny pieces of foam adhesive to the backs. So I put them on the back of all the paws so they can be a little bit popped up. So I'm going to peel the liner off and kind of place them where I would like them to go, and when I am sure of placement, then I'll go ahead and press them down like that. Cute, cute, cute. I love these Peekaboo Pals. I absolutely love them. The whole collection. So now I'm working on the unicorn's red bumper car and doing the same thing as I did with the tiger. And there's that one. Cute, cute. Now I'm going to work on the front panel, which is where the slider mechanism will be. So when that little tiger slides on over, he's going to bump into the unicorn and have her little car shake. So I'm using my T-square ruler to make sure that that die is lined up straight, because I cannot see straight to save my life. So I need all the help I can get. So to make this the second interactive part beside the slider, I'm using an action wobble to have that unicorn kind of shake like that when the tiger bumps into him or her. Now I'm going to take my penny so that I can work on that slider mechanism. I die cut the banner out of two different types of pattern paper, and I added off screen I added alphabet stickers so that it would spell out happy birthday. I colored in a sheet of vellum with Copic markers so that those balloons would kind of look like balloons and that they would be transparent, which is a trick you can achieve with vellum and Copic markers. Now I added double foam sheets to the back and made sure it didn't interfere with that penny sliding over. I added the banners and the balloons off camera to the card, as well as a little action wobbler. And so I added a piece of foam to the penny, and I realized I probably need another piece of foam to lift it up a little bit higher off the card base. So I'm going to cut a little scrap piece and then adhere it to that piece of foam on the penny. I then saw that I need to add a piece of thick foam to the back of the tiger's head so he can be level across, on the cardstock, so his head wouldn't dip. So I went ahead and did that, and then I adhered it carefully on top and let it set and dry while I worked on the sentiment. Now, in all honesty, this is where I feel like this was a fail for me, because the sentiment was not where I wanted it to go. So rather than just starting over, I just tried to fix it. So I don't know if it ended up working at the end, but it worked enough for me. So here's what I did. So I stamped part of the sentiment from Lawn Fawn's Really High Five that says flying by to say, but I masked off the flying part and just kept the by to say part so that I could use the Avery Elle's bumping part on there. So I went ahead and masked the part of the sentiment I didn't want and just kept the bumping and coated it with white embossing powder. And I'm going to go ahead and take a dry paintbrush and remove any of that excess embossing powder very carefully so I didn't disrupt the bumping word, and then I heat set that. So now the sentiment reads bumping by to say. I added foam to the back of the sentiment along with a couple of scrap pieces so that the sentiment would be consistent across the cardstock. and that is how it would go onto the card base. Now, now that the mechanism was working just fine, I'm ready to adhere it to the card front or to the card base. So I added lots of adhesive to the foam and attached it to the card base. Just like that. So everything's good. Okay, so now I am ready to adhere the sentiment strip to the front. So I added some more glue to that, and I swiped off any extra glue. Now I felt it was a little bit, again, here's where the sentiment was just not in a right place, so I added ellipses to it to try to help, but it still wasn't working for me. I die cut the little stars out of silver and gold paper and just scattered them across the back, kind of just embellishment in the background. I added some glue and picked up everything with the crystal katana, which a tool like this is a must-have when you want to pick up little beads and little embellishments like this. So yeah, one of these tools is super, super handy. Now, I was feeling like there was a lot going on at the top, but the bottom was a little bit too not, I don't know, wasn't balanced enough. So I just decided to heat emboss Enjoy the Ride in silver and gold to match the stars above and add that to the panel. It might have been a little much, but to me, I just felt like it needed to be balanced at the top and then at the bottom as well. And that sentiment is still bothering me because there's just a big chunk to the right that has nothing on it. So I decided that I was going to add an arrow kind of to fill in that space. And the white gel pen and I have a love-hate relationship in that I really cannot get one to work consistently. So I had to try to write 100 times to make this little arrow, and finally it was opaque enough to where you can see it, and that was a little bit better for me. So I didn't have any gaps there on the right. So now I'm ready to go ahead and work on this little unicorn. So I decided that for the little unicorn, I was going to make his little or her little mane in rainbow colors. And so I took the stickles and painted on little stripes so that it would be a rainbow colored mane. And for the horn, I used, I believe this is diamond stickles, so it would be an iridescent, sparkly horn. And I also added some to the hooves. I'm not sure how you say that. Hooves. So you know what I mean. And so that little unicorn would be sparkly. And I did color her in with some W markers, even though it's hard to see. So for some added touches, I used the crystal glaze from Nuvo for the headlights and the lights, and then the black glaze pen for the eyes and the nose on the little tiger. And I let that dry completely. To work on the inside, I used the balloon stencil with the red, yellow, and blue distress inks, and I just blended in on those balloons. And I did get some on the side, but I took my eraser and gently erased those stray marks off there, and they came off no problem. So I went ahead and finished up with the blue balloon and then the yellow balloon. And masked off the parts I didn't need. So here's the finished card. And so when the little tiger slides and bumps into the unicorn, he shakes, and then the inside says, bumping by to say, have a really happy birthday. Thanks so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today and for watching. You can find me on Instagram and also on my blog, Crafting with Class. So until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.